Okay, so years ago, probably at least 20 years ago. Yeah, it was. Man, time flies. Uh, I read an interview that the actress Renee Russo gave in this magazine, and I don't even remember the name of the magazine, but a couple things I do remember. One thing she said was she became a Christian earlier in her life by reading C.S. Lewis. And if you have not read C.S. Lewis, by the way, I highly recommend him, either his fiction or nonfiction. So many people I've met, literally, I've lost count. I've met in my life who've said that they became a Christian because of C.S. Lewis, or that was one of the main links in the chain that made them, or that brought them to Christianity. But this video is not about Lewis, it's about the Bible. So they asked Renee Russo in this interview what her favorite book is, and she said her favorite book is the Bible. And then she said something very profound. She said, "It's the one book everyone has an opinion about, but no one really reads." And I thought to myself back then even, wow. I mean, that really struck me, because even back then in my life, I had met many people who had this negative view of the Bible. They disregarded it or they criticized it. But when I would talk to them about it and ask them what did they read, which parts or how much, many of them, not all of them, but many of them said, "I haven't read any of it." And so I thought, man, if you're going to reject the Bible, at least give it a shot, you know? And so I told them, you don't have to read the whole thing cover to cover. I mean, if you do, that's fine. But the Bible, remember, it's not just one book. It's dozens of books under one cover, written by dozens of authors over, 1,500 years, all unfolding into this one storyline that God has created from beginning to end. Okay, but I just recommended to most people to just read the Gospels. Now, the Gospels are the first 4 books of the New Testament. Okay, and the names of those 4 books in order are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the 4 names of the first 4 books of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And they talk about Jesus' life. They're basically the 4 biographies in the New Testament about Jesus' life. And the reason why I say start there is because, of course, at the heart of Christianity is Jesus Christ, right? Jesus the Christ, Jesus the Messiah. And even if you reject Christianity, I got to tell you, if you read the Jesus, or if you get to know, or just becomes even somewhat familiar with the Jesus you find in the New Testament, in those first 4 books, you can't help but be impressed with this guy. I'm not saying you'll become a Christian. Maybe you will. But at the very least, read about Jesus himself according to the New Testament. You might be surprised. I mean, if I were to sit there and make up a God, or make up a religion and make up what I would want God to be like, I couldn't beat Jesus. I'm like, yeah, I would want God to be like Jesus. A God who hates evil, who hates, evil and the suffering that evil has brought about. Okay, and did something about it and will complete that job in the future. A God who hates sin but loves people who are sinners, and a God who takes away or has an answer and a solution to one of the biggest problems that we all struggle with is guilt. Again, we all do things we know we shouldn't do. And the answer to guilt is not denial. The answer to guilt is forgiveness. And that's where Jesus comes in. Jesus is the only one who can solve our guilt problem, our sin problem. And again, read about him in the New Testament and just see for yourself. And those 4 books together might be 100 pages. And if you don't want to read even all 4, pick one. Pick one of the 4 and read it. But I'm telling you, you might be surprised. This Jesus that you find there, he is awesome, literally awesome. He is worthy of worship. He is the Jesus that you find in the New Testament is worthy to be followed. And so if you haven't read any of it, you don't need to read all the whole book, the whole Bible cover to cover. If you do, that's great. But just read, again, pick one of the 4 books, the first 4 books in the New Testament, and find out more about that Jesus. And ask yourself, is this guy worth following? Is he worth trusting? Can I trust my life, my eternity with this Jesus? And and go from there and see what happens. I'll do part 2 of the What About the Bible series soon, but this is part 1. And until next time, thank you and peace.